I'm 75 now, and I can't remember anybody except the Queen being there.
But there's been no indication that the King's cancer treatment is finished. So
I'm 75 now, and I can't remember anybody except the Queen being there, but there's been no indication that the King's cancer treatment has finished. As the year seems to be winding down gracefully, Queen Camilla has shaken expectations with an announcement that reveals that everything may not be as flawless as it appears. This became known while she addressed the public. While she hoped to sway the views of the public on a peculiar subject, she only ended up piquing interest even more, leaving the entire country completely stunned with many unanswered questions. What exactly happened, and how does that affect the future of the country? Join us as we tell you all about Queen Camilla's announcement, the announcement that shook the entire country, with the royal family at the forefront of all the affairs regarding the United Kingdom. You can say things have been moving seamlessly all this while. While there have been countless trials and tribulations, together they have worked to ensure that they not only overcame the numerous problems, but they have done things in such a way that it never affected the country in a negative way. However, it seems like the royal family has their hands full with a problem they aren't entirely sure they can overcome. This became clear right after the Queen herself made an announcement relating to King Charles's health at a recent public hearing. An announcement that the public perceived as unprecedented has left the entire country completely shaken, especially due to the fact that it came from the Queen herself, which goes ahead to depict the seriousness of the state of things in Buckingham Palace and how the royal family might be on a chokehold. In a nutshell, it seems as if the future of the throne isn't certain. If you've been paying close attention to the dealings of the royal family, you must have noticed something peculiar. The king has been making far fewer appearances in public than before. King Charles's health has been deteriorating. For some, the news of the king's bad health isn't really news, as the word has been going around for quite some time. However, it came as a shock having to hear straight from the Queen how bad it was. Normally, the royal family is known to keep things hushed down, especially for news as delicate as the king's health. Yet, Camilla expressed herself in public without holding back. This was very surprising, and the announcement was more than enough to shock not just the United Kingdom but the entire world. As a matter of fact, Camilla opened up during her recent documentary titled Her Majesty the Queen, Behind Closed Doors. In this documentary, Camilla showcased her first year as Queen, and the documentary was supposed to provide a glimpse of how she had been tackling the issues of domestic abuse over the years. As Queen, she's breaking the cycle to put an end to domestic abuse forever. However, it did more than that. Apparently, it also showed a time when she visited the government house in the Isle of Man in March 2024, just a month after news got out about King Charles being diagnosed with a form of cancer. At the meeting in the government house, Camilla was being questioned about the king's health, and she had it in her mind to decide not to say anything about the matter. However, she didn't hold back on the details. Giving a reply, she responded, saying that he was doing well. She also stated how the biggest issue is that managing the king's health was deterring the king from doing so much, and this was the major reason why Queen Camilla made most of the official appearances in place of the king, for an announcement that no one would ever expect. This took the entire country by surprise. While the intent behind Queen Camilla's announcement might have been to reassure the citizens of the king's health, it also gave a full glimpse of how the power dynamics are shifting in Buckingham Palace. Let's say the king is doing less than before and making fewer appearances as well. Does that affect the decision-making in the palace? For the times when a new policy was enacted, can we say that the king himself approved of it, or was it a unanimous decision between the other royals? These are the questions that a whole lot of people have been asking, while there are citizens bothered about how the royal family's decision to push the king behind the big stage would affect the reformation of the state. There are also others who believe that Camilla's statement was a front to sway the country from the truth that the king's health might be getting worse. If that's the case, her announcement might have been more personal due to a possible outburst of emotions that might have been swirling up inside her ever since. After all, let's not forget that while Camilla is the queen consort, she also is the partner of the king. That being the case, it definitely must not have been easy watching the one she loves face the harsh conditions that come with cancer. Making the announcement might not have just been to convince the people, but it might have been to convince herself as well that everything is fine with King Charles. What do you think about that? It's a sad but pretty tacky situation, So we can only help by breaking things down so you know the full implications of the Queen's announcement and how it can redefine the fate of the royal family. How influential is the Queen's announcement? Well, you are about to find out. Stay on to get the full details of Queen Camilla and the implications of her statement. In truth, there are a lot of theories and reactions from the citizens pertaining to Camilla's announcement. However, what each and everyone had in common was the shock and surprise on their faces. But then, for you to know just how much this announcement carries weight, it is important to know about how she took the stage to become Queen Consort. Obviously, in the eyes of many, Camilla's ascension to the throne isn't all white, and it's easy to see why that is the case. Apparently, this is because of several talks about the scandals between her and King Charles from when Lady Diana was still alive and married to Charles. Because of the story surrounding their relationship, the most conceived notion is that her position as queen isn't well deserved. It is true that Queen Camilla might not have merited her seat like the other royals, but it still doesn't change the fact that she has done quite a good job as Queen Consort. Over the years, Camilla